Your friend texts you at 10 p.m. I need to talk. Everything's falling apart. And immediately, your heart rate spikes. Your stomach drops. You put down whatever you're doing, and suddenly their crisis is your crisis. I said, you put down everything that you're doing, and their crisis is your crisis. You're Googling solutions. You're drafting the perfect response. You're staying up till midnight, playing therapist, life coach, and emotional first responder. And hours later, maybe even days, you're still carrying their panic in your body. So here's my question. When did you decide your nervous system was an emergency room? When did you start operating like every crisis is a code blue and you're the only one who can save them? Because here's what I learned as an actual registered nurse working in actual healthcare. Not every emergency is your emergency. Today, I'm breaking down why highly sensitive people confuse empathy with responsibility. And the one question that will change how you show up in other people's chaos. So stick around till the end because I'm sharing the hardest boundary I've ever set and why it saved me. Hello, everyone. My name is Sly, and welcome back. I am a pediatric registered nurse turned writer, and this is my video version of my Substack, the Highly Sensitive Person HSP Sanctuary. I like to call it a soft room for healing, boundaries, and nervous system regulation, especially if you feel everything. If you are new here, welcome. Welcome you with both hands. Take your shoes off. Grab some tea, like we always do. Unclench your jaw. Sit up straight. Take a deep breath. And let's exhale together. Before we dive in today, again, as I always like to say, a huge shout out to my amazing Substack family, because this is another topic that came straight from one of my most viral notes. So many of you commented like, wait, why do I absorb everyone's panic as my own? And I realized we need to have this conversation. So thank you for always showing up in the comments, showing me what you need to hear. Those of you that DM me, those of them that just write in the comments. I appreciate the conversations we're having. As I said, we're growing so fast. We are now at about 950 subscribers. So I thank you all for the support. And now, if you haven't watched my episode on why receiving feels like a debt, you absolutely need to watch that one after this, because what we're talking about today is it's gonna flip this. Or how should I say? It's the flip of that same coin. I know. Yes, it is. You can't receive because you have made yourself the external giver, the fixer, the emergency room that never closes. These episodes are very connected, so you're going to enjoy them. I am getting comfortable with being on camera. I still stumble over my words as I learn and practice this muscle, building this muscle. of just being seen on camera, being uncomfortable with the uncomfortability, being vulnerable with you guys, sharing my lessons. And I have linked the video in the description along with the whole playlist because honestly, these topics they they layer onto each other, as I mentioned in a previous episode. They're designed to be binge watched. It's like following breadcrumbs to your own healing. So let's talk about why your nervous system thinks it's a trauma center. I hope you're enjoying your tea. So we're going to talk about why HSPs operate like emergency rooms. Excuse me. So I'm going to break down what's actually happening when someone else's crisis hijacks your entire body. There are three big reasons, and I'm guessing all three are going to feel personal. So let's start with reason number one. That's going to be our first lesson. You were trained to be the emotional paramedic. If you grew up as the emotional caretaker of your family, the one who managed everybody's feelings, you diffused the tension, you made sure everyone was okay, then your nervous system was trained to be an emergency room. It was, unfortunately, it was. Because you learned that when someone is in crisis, you fix it. That's your role. That's how you stay valuable. That's how you earn your place in the relationship. Wow. That's been me a lot of my life. So when someone texts you in distress, you don't think, oh, is this mine to solve? You just, boom, absorb it. You become the first responder because that's what you've always done. Here's the trap. People started relying on you to be that person. They learned that if they bring their chaos, you're going to drop everything. You'll carry it for them. You will fix it because you're the fixer. So yours and my nervous system, we never get to rest because you're always on call. I'm always on call, always in triage mode, always bracing for the next emergency. Wow. As I speak about this, it's hitting me too. I work as a nurse, so I just always go, go, go. But now that I'm discussing it with you guys here and speaking out my thoughts, I'm like, wow, that's kind of sad. And that's not empathy. That's codependency wearing an empathy costume. So that's lesson number one. Lesson number two, you confuse the pain of being the responsible one. Here's reason number two, and this is the one that hit me hard as a highly sensitive person. You feel other people's emotions in your body. And somewhere along the way, you started believing that if you feel it, you must fix it. Ooh, yeah. If you feel it, you must fix it. So think about it, right? Someone tells you they're anxious, and suddenly you're anxious. 'Cause that's me. I do that all the time. They're overwhelmed. Now I'm overwhelmed. Their nervous system dysregulation becomes your nervous system dysregulation. And it becomes this continuous cycle. And because you're an empath, because you're wired to attune to other people's emotional states, you think, well, if I can feel it this intensely, I must be the one who's supposed to do something about it. Wow. But here's the truth, guys. Empathy is witnessing someone else's pain. Codependency, on the other hand, is absorbing it and making it your job to fix it. Mm, wow. So you can hold space for someone without becoming their emotional emergency room. You can also care without carrying. And learning the difference, that's where the work comes in, right? So lesson number 3 is you're afraid that saying no makes you a bad person. Wow. I'm even getting chills just saying that. So the third reason is the one that keeps us very stuck. You're terrified that if you don't drop everything to help, you're selfish. You're cold. You're not a good friend. You're not a good person. Wow. So you say yes when you don't have the capacity. I know I do that all the time. You show up when you're already depleted because you make yourself available 24/7 because you think that's what love looks like. But here's what I've learned as a nurse. In a real emergency room, we have shifts, we have backup, we have protocols because even trained medical professionals can't be on all the time without breaking. Like at some point, you're going to break. So why do you think you can? Why do you think your empathy, your energy, your nervous system has unlimited capacity? Hmm. You're not a bad person for having limits. You're not selfish for needing rest. And as I say this, I'm saying that to myself too. And the people who make you feel guilty for having boundaries, they're not treating you like like a person. You're treating you like a resource. Wow. Yeah, I'm treating you like a resource. So here's my nursing perspective, what real triage looks like. Okay, so here's where my nursing background comes in, right? I've been waiting for this one because I've worked in pediatrics and I've been in pediatrics now going on 15 years now. And I know what an actual triage looks like. And I realize when I was applying medical emergency protocols to my personal life, and it was killing me. It really was. So let me share what changed everything for me. So in a hospital, triage means assessing who needs immediate intervention and who can wait. It's not about who's loudest or who's in the most pain. It's about severity and resources. It's about severity and resources. And here's the key. Not every crisis requires immediate intervention, and not every crisis requires your intervention. So I started asking myself the same question I'd ask in a clinical setting. Is this mine to carry? Not, can I help? Not, should I help? But, is this mine? And most of the time, the answer is no, it's not mine. Nope, it's theirs. And they're actually capable of handling it or finding the appropriate support for the problem they're looking for you for or coming to you with. Because here's what we forget. When you rush in to fix everything, You rob people of the opportunity to build their own capacity, their own resilience, their own support system. You are not helping, you are enabling. And that's me calling myself out too. You're teaching them that they don't have to manage their own emotions because you'll do it for them. And then we wonder why the same people keep coming to us with the same crises over and over again. It's because we keep taking the bait. So, my practice for 2026, and what I urge you to also do in 2026, letting people experience their own discomfort without rushing to rescue them. Because real support isn't fixing, real support is presence. And sometimes presence looks like saying, well, that sounds really hard. I trust you'll figure it out. That takes me right into how to stop being everyone's emergency room. So, all right, how do we actually do this? Right? We're going to just transition right into, and I'm almost coming to an end here with you guys. All right, how do we actually do this, right? Because breaking this pattern requires rewiring decades of conditioning. Oh boy, even just thinking about it, I'm tired. I exhaust myself. So here's what's working for me. I will say these are some steps that I've taken. And step one, I ask before absorbing. I want you to ask someone when they bring their crisis to you. Pause for 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ask yourself, is this mine to carry or am I just available? Because availability is not the same as responsibility. Just because you can help doesn't mean you should. Takes me into step number 2. Practicing letting one person handle their own emergency this week. I know, I know, it feels brutal, right? But pick one person, not someone in actual danger, of course, but someone who's chronically in crises. And don't jump in, don't offer solutions, don't absorb their panic. You can say something like, wow, that sounds really tough. What do you think you're going to do? And then you let them answer. Let them sit with their own discomfort this time. Let them build their own capacity, which takes me into step number 3. Redirect when appropriate. So if someone is constantly, let's say, using you as their therapist, I know they use me all the time. It's okay to say, this sounds like something that would really benefit from professional support. Have you thought about talking to a therapist? And see how they react. That's not being mean. That's very appropriate because you are not a licensed mental health professional. You're a friend, and friends have limits. I'll give you guys a bonus step to practice this week. Notice how your body reacts. Because as a friend, I said, you have limits. When someone brings you their crises, scan your body. Is your heart racing? Is your stomach tight? Are your shoulders tense? Right? You might be tense. That is your nervous system saying, this is too much. And you're allowed to listen to it. You're allowed. You are allowed. You're allowed to say, I don't have capacity for this right now. And that doesn't make you a bad person. It makes you a person with boundaries. And that is huge for us highly sensitive people. So now, that's it for the things that you can practice this week. And I have my previous videos that I have recorded and shared with you guys. So if you're sitting here thinking, this is me with literally everyone in my life, right? You need to go watch my video on why receiving feels like debt, because this ER mentality, it's the same pattern. You can't receive because you've made yourself the giver, the fixer, the one who's always on. And I've linked those in the description below. And if you are also realizing this is connected to your hypervigilance, go watch my video on why you replay every conversation too, because it's all the same nervous system, just different expressions. So the playlist is right here. These videos are literally breadcrumbs to your healing. So binge watch them, take notes, let yourself feel seen. That's why I'm here. And before you go, I want you to drop me the siren in the comments if you've ever canceled your own plans to handle someone else's emergency. Let's normalize talking about this, because the emergency room mentality is real for us highly sensitive people. And if this resonated, hit the subscribe button. We are creating a space where boundaries aren't selfish, where rest is not lazy, and where you don't have to save everyone to be worthy of love. Also, real talk. Every time I post one of these, I have a moment of panic, like, is this too much? Am I exposing myself too much? But then I remember that's exactly why I need to do it, because if I'm scared to be seen, how can I ask you to be brave, right? So we're doing this together, guys. We're learning to close the ER. We're learning to rest. And we're learning that we are still good people even when we are not saving everyone. You deserve that. I deserve that. Right? All right. So I want you to remember that you need to take care of that beautiful, overworked nervous system of yours. You are not an emergency room. You are a person, and you're allowed to rest. Okay? Appreciate you being here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you tomorrow.